Woo, I'm pooped. Just got in from detailing the car. Did you miss me? Yeah, I didn't think so. But if you're anything like me, you are missing Habs hockey. But I have good news, and I have exclusive news. What kind of exclusive? I went to an event with Carey Price. Not with Carey Price, he didn't go with me. He was a keynote speaker at the event, and it was really interesting. And I'm happy to say, Carey Price changed my perspective on things. That's just the guy he is, right? You kind of hang on every one of his words. Not unlike this extremely New Brunswick, Canada moment when Carey Price was unpacking a motivational, inspiring, and good piece of advice.
Goes by like that. So you have a very limited time on this earth. And enjoy the moment you're in.
Right on, man.
So let's talk about that event. Let's talk about the Habs. They recently did some exit interviews, and there was a lot of good information that came from those interviews. I'm going to try to unpack it, and let's talk about it. I'm back. I tried recording this video earlier in the day, but things got busy. So now it's nighttime on Saturday. I'm watching the Colorado-Dallas game on my other monitor.
Played by O'Connor, who has the only shorthanded goal in this series. He centers one. They score! Shorthanded!
1-0 Colorado. Game 7, baby. But we're here to talk about the Habs. And I have to admit something. It's been 2 days since I produced a video, I think. 3 days, 2 days. And it's tough, guys. The candle went out a little bit when Montreal was eliminated. It really makes you realize that although you might have a passion for hockey, your team, your team means so much to you, right? That's why watching these exit interviews were particularly tough for me. But seeing Carey Price at that event, it was motivational. I know that he tries to make those events motivational. He always seems to have like a message. So it felt like a good cap to the elimination. It also made me realize that I'm so lucky to have this community. I'm so lucky to have you here watching this content, sharing ideas, sharing thoughts, opinions about the Montreal Canadiens. It's a way to allow me to stoke the flames of that passion, right? Which reminds me, if you're not already a subscriber, please subscribe. I think I need like 9 subscribers to hit 13,300 subscribers. So let's see if we can do that. If you're already subscribed, don't worry about it. Just hit that like button and let me know what kind of car was your first car. Talking about detailing cars. Yeah, my car was in rough shape after winter. There was all salt underneath the floor mats. And my first vehicle technically was a Bronco 2. Is that what OJ had? So we'll start things off by talking about the exit interviews. There's a lot of big revelations. I thought it was crazy listening to the guys say what kind of injuries they were battling through. You probably heard that Patrick Laine had a broken finger since Game 2 in the Washington series. And then it was unveiled that Samuel Montembeault tore his groin, which can be a very serious injury. But listening to what he said, it was the first question in his interview, and he didn't seem that worried about it. He said surgery was not necessary, which is huge, and that even during the playoffs, the plan was he would take, the amount of time he would need to recover and then return during the second series. Definitely cool hearing from a lot of the guys that they expected to go to the next series. I think we all knew that Josh Anderson was battling through injuries since January. Same thing with Savard, who's of course retiring this season. Savard definitely got his flowers when he announced his retirement. And after the series, he is sorely going to be missed on the team from what you hear in these interviews. But what was neat is that Savard has aspirations to coach in some way. Maybe it's that he's part of the defensive coaching staff team, defensive coordinator, but he said he wants to help young guys learn the system in Montreal. And I think you got a guy like Savard around. Why not? Another reoccurring theme in these interviews was that the Bell Center is the place to play. Everybody wants to be part of the future in Montreal. However, there are some question marks. Christian Dvorak said that he didn't want to talk about extending in Montreal. He has not met with Kent Hughes, but he was planning to meet with him. There's going to be news coming out shortly. I think that the way that Montreal is set up and the way that they treat their players, they're going to have those conversations. Yes, some of them are probably going to be tough, but there might be some good stories. It's just, I don't know how the shoe fits next season for a few of these individuals. The one that was kind of tough to hear was Yoel Armia's. I think maybe I'll just play the clip.
How much do you want to be part of that future? Did you have any discussions regarding a return next year?
A little bit, and a lot. I want to be here, yeah.
Any particular reason? You've been here for a while. Is it more, this is home a little bit for you now, or why?
Yeah, and it's like, it's everything. The playing at the Boston and playoff like this show that the playoff belong in Montreal. So it's like, and everything else, the way the coaches, the management, everything, how they take care of the players here. So it's and also growing up with these guys and see how they grow as a player, as a human. So it's a lot of things.
It's obvious he wants to stay in Montreal. He has friends there, of course. He likes the atmosphere, and at times, Armia looks like he is a man possessed out there. Remember that little segment where he lost his stick?
Should work here. Put a position on Harley, pushes him out. He comes back up along the wall. He understands, I can make a hand.
Really earned the nickname One Man Armia on that one. I think that I could see a future for Armia in Montreal. He wouldn't be expecting a lot of money, and depending how the season begins and how it rolls out, he could see some time as a healthy scratch. So that'll be interesting. The same goes for Dvorak. What's tough about Dvorak is if they don't re-sign him, they really have to find a center that is pulling big numbers for faceoffs. When they interviewed Jack-Eye, I didn't know where the conversation was going to go. There was a couple of hardball questions. Jack-Eye said that he hopes to fill the gap that's going to be missing with Savard out of the lineup. Jack-Eye did admit that there are parts of his game that he needs to get better at. The coaching from Martin St. Louis with Jack-Eye is often about reining in his randomness on the ice. He was pressed by one of the reporters asking whether or not he thinks in order to play his best, he needs to become untethered a little bit and play a passionate game out there, which Jack-Eye resisted agreeing with him. And I think that shows a lot of maturity, because while I do think Jack-Eye needs to unleash a little bit, become more comfortable with the game that he's playing out there, it slaps you in the face how apparent it is that Martin St. Louis wants Jack-Eye to keep it simple, play a very safe defensive game, and that means minimal mistakes and minimal randomness. He said he echoed everybody else. He said that playing at the Bell Center is like nothing else. And he talked about how the series with the Capitals was way closer than it looked like in the end. The last individual who I want to talk about and who I thought had a really interesting interview was Juraj Slafkovský. First of all, he admitted he will not be playing in the World Cup of Hockey for his home country, Slovakia. And he said this was a decision that he made with the team. So I find this was a really interesting comment. I don't know what that means. Other individuals were asked about whether or not they're going to be playing IIHF hockey. Matheson has been confirmed as playing for Team Canada. Suzuki just needs to get cleared to play. Caulfield's still thinking about it. But Uri has already had the conversation with the team, and they said no. He said he's not injured. That's not the reason. Why do they just want him to take a break? Do they want him at the gym instead of the ice? That might be it. I don't know, because he did say that he wants to work on some areas with his strength coach. I hope whatever that means is that it leads to him driving the puck towards the net. I was actually really impressed with his work along the boards in the playoffs and lately. I just think he's got this monkey on his back, at least for criticism about his game. And it's that he doesn't use his big frame to create opportunities by driving the net. And he has kind of made that comment in the past. I think when he said in order to be successful at this game, he needs to play more like Brady Tkachuk. So after those comments about not playing for Slovakia, working with his strength coach, the journalists pressed him a little bit. They asked him some tough questions. I think I have a clip here. Listen to this.
Do you realize that you are a big guy? You could, you can hit and,
Yeah.
or it's maybe like a confidence, or because you said when you succeed, you're really you're physical. So, is there any reason why you can't be consistent in that way?
I think it's just a mindset thing. Straight mindset. Maybe I was trying to do something else when I didn't have to, and I didn't focus on the stuff that was actually helping me to be successful.
So he says it's a mindset thing. I like this response. I like it because I think he's wrong. He goes on to say that he thinks he gets distracted on the ice often by doing other things. And I think that is the right answer. I think that Uri has the mindset to be physical. He takes the game incredibly seriously. I mean, you see how upset he gets. Maybe it's just that he gets overwhelmed with all the tasks that he needs to do when he jumps over the boards. And he's so young, which makes me think with this little revelation here that there will be a point when he just becomes plain comfortable with everything that he needs to do out there, with his game, with his identity in the game, and everything just becomes second nature for him. He'll have unlocked everything that he needs to do to be successful at the game. And I think it's going to be game changing. So getting back to the Carey Price event that I went to the other night, I think the big moment for me, the key moment for me, or a revelation that I had when I attended that event, was when Carey Price was talking about the current Montreal Canadiens. He said that they're creating a winning locker room culture. Just here, I have a clip of it.
I thought the team as a whole made a lot of great strides this year. And I went and saw the team in Vancouver just to see the look on some of the players' faces, because you can tell that they were playing meaningful hockey. A lot of those players hadn't done that since we went to the finals, so you can tell the guys were hungry and enjoying being at the rink. You can tell they were building an atmosphere within a locker room that's a winning culture. And every team goes through a rebuilding process, and your hope is that it's not going to take a long time. And to watch those guys come together, the young players developing as quickly as they are, was a lot of fun to watch.
And it made me realize that this series, the Washington series, it was always going to be the important moment that it was for those Canadiens players. It taught those individuals that they deserve to be there. Forget about the bad refereeing, the bad officiating. And when I start to relate that back to me, well, I kind of want to apologize for how I handled that series. It isn't the referee's fault. Sure, power plays create waves, and an early goal can be the dagger that affects the rest of the game. I still think we should hold our officials to a high standard. But if they couldn't get more goals 5-on-5, it was completely within them to try to do that. And they did try to fight back, but they got goalied. They outplayed the Capitals in a lot of ways. But at the end of the day, Capitals won the series. It can't solely be blamed on the poor officiating. So congratulations, Caps fans. I hope you go all the way and prove us right. Prove us right in terms of how strong this Montreal Canadiens team is. It will sting a little bit, though. The other things that Carey Price talked about, his current life, how he's been enjoying hunting and fishing, his history in the NHL, how much fun he had playing for the Montreal Canadiens, how he's coming to terms with his time and the accomplishments that he made. I know he said in the past that it feels tough on him that he wasn't able to get that cup, but this conversation, it really didn't feel like that bothers him as much anymore. He talked about Subban.
We had a lot of fun together. It's just like he brought a lot of energy to the rink.
He's very shy.
Very shy.
You can tell on television.
Hard to get a word out of him. Never has an opinion about anything.
And it was a really great event. I had a great time. And I think I even recorded a segment to kind of sign me off here.
So I just got out of the event with Carey Price. That was exactly what I needed. It's funny that way. I don't know. I think that Carey Price has that kind of way with things. Everything he says, you know, there's gravity to it. And it makes sense because he always talks about how he's working on himself, trying to be a good person, and so on. So I hope you enjoyed this video. You know what to do. Hit the like button. It helps me with something or other. Subscribe. I'd love to have you as part of the community. And as always, I'll see you down in the comments.